Hello from Jakarta, Indonesia. Thank you for joining the live YouTube episode of Nyambung, aka Clicked and Connect. That's the term in Indonesia for being clicked and connect. With me, Dinna Prapto Raharja. This is the 14th episode, and this session will be an international version. This is a podcast program, also available on Spotify, to get you clicked and connect with current international political economic issues, including on social protection. Our focus today is where is the United States in Afghanistan and Myanmar? In this mini edition, my guest is Kobsak Chutikul. Kobsak is a former ambassador and member of parliament from the Kingdom of Thailand. Our crossing path happened about 4 or 5 years ago. Am I correct, Ambassador?
Yes, in Jakarta.
In Jakarta.
Yes.
Or in Bangkok.
Bangkok first, briefly, yes, in a seminar. Yes.
And then we continued sharing thoughts and information on issues around the region. And to me, he has always been insightful and thoughtful. I enjoy him very much as a companion of reflection on regional issues. So thank you for joining me today, Kobsak Chutikul.
Pleasure, my pleasure.
Thank you for spending your Saturday afternoon with Nyambung. Much appreciated. How are you today?
All right. Well, locked down at home. Can't go out much anywhere.
But you're joining from Bangkok, huh?
From Bangkok, yes, from my place in Bangkok, yeah.
Yeah, excellent. We appreciate your presence here today. And I would like to start by thanking the subscribers and viewers of Nyambung, especially those joining live today. We very much appreciate your support. Don't forget to send us the like, share, and comment to make our online sharing and discussion more fruitful for you. So today we also have special opportunity to those viewing live. To the best questions of the day, we have a reward of 100,000 rupiah each in the form of e-wallet. So please join us, ask questions and comment, and then so my discussion with Kobsak can be more fruitful to you. So the topic today, let's go straight to the points here. I intentionally put together the issue of Afghanistan and Myanmar in one topic for two reasons. The first reason is because both countries currently suffer from humanitarian crisis following the collapse of governance and political order in the countries. Both happened in 2021 at the height of COVID-19 pandemic. The second reason is because both countries are in Asia, in our neck of the wood, and stability of the country would affect the stability of the region. So it is very much essential that we who live in this region see these two events with holistic views. A little bit background about Afghanistan. As we are aware, today is the 28th of August. We all know that the crisis in Afghanistan followed after an announcement of U.S. forces withdrawal from Afghanistan. It says that the end timeline was September 11th, but then there was another announcement saying that it will be by August 31st. And the announcement suddenly followed by a collapse of governance in Afghanistan as Taliban and extremist political forces declared seizure of power. And then the Afghanistan president, Ashraf Ghani, fled from the country. President Joe Biden said that it's fixed now that August 31st will be the last day of U.S. armed forces presence in Afghanistan. So Taliban seized Kabul and the entire country, causing widespread panic. Immediately, there was a collapse of political order and governance. Evacuation efforts created a sense of fear, desperation, and disarray. And then just a few days ago, there was a bomb blast at the Kabul airport, killing at least 169 Afghans and 13 Americans. About Myanmar, the political turmoil in that country started in 1st February 2021. Now, of course, we know that Myanmar has been struggling with lots of political issues in the past a few decades. And the past one that they just experienced was a military coup that basically collapsed the governance in the country. Now it's going 6 months. Skyrocketing COVID-19 infection is happening. Violence is spreading really fast in the country as well. So in that situation of very dire condition, doctors and nurses have been having given arrest warrants. So the question here is, where is the US, of course, in all of this? So I would like to ask my partner in thinking, Kun Kobsak, what's your thought on all of this?
Well, of course, the immediate impact in this region, as we try to follow events, mostly on the mass media, television programs, events in Afghanistan, I think was one of shock, perhaps, of unexpected consequences, and of some concern, because the US was involved. I think that's one. And secondly, of course, because of the potential for increased militant Islamist movements to be spreading out again out of Afghanistan. But in the terms of the US involvement, I think because the US is still a major actor in Southeast Asia.
Right.
And we see, as you say, similarities between Myanmar and Afghanistan. We can see Myanmar in the east and Afghanistan in the west as if like two poles holding up the soft underbelly of Asia, two strategic poles. But many similarities now, as you say. There's a humanitarian, half the population are starving, medical pandemic, no one is getting vaccines in Afghanistan yet, a lot of medical equipment needed. Also in Myanmar, there's a civil war, as you say, tribalism, ethnic conflicts in a country that is rich in natural resources. Both of them are tempting for outside powers, and who have been trying to vie for influence and power in those two strategic points, geostrategic points of Asia for centuries now. And we see perhaps a return of the big game again. It was in Southeast Asia in 1975 when the US left, the fall of Saigon. And then the pendulum sort of swung to the west, to Afghanistan, Mujahideen fighting, being backed by some Western countries, United States, to try to get the Soviets out. So the big question now is, okay, if they think Afghanistan, they are withdrawing, going out, will the pendulum swing back to Southeast Asia? Would they choose Southeast Asia again as a new line of confrontation? We can see recently Vice President Kamala Harris visited Hanoi, and a straight line down to Singapore. We can see Defense Secretary Austin earlier had visited Hanoi, Singapore, Manila. So maybe we can see a new triangle, strategic triangle, with the center of the South China Sea. So perhaps is that the new area of great power, rivalry, and confrontation?
Okay, let me stop you there. And you say specifically about confrontation, whereas Kamala Harris, the vice president, on her recent visit to Southeast Asia, she particularly mentioned about the wish of the United States, actually, at least a few days ago before all the bomb blast happened in Afghanistan, that the intention of withdrawing from Afghanistan is to open a new chapter for the US. Basically, leaving behind the 9/11 story, all the terrorism narrative that has been clouding U.S. foreign policy, to shift now to the economic agenda. And this is the reason why she said she is visiting Singapore in particular, because she wished to develop certain supply chain cooperation in Southeast Asia. Your comment on that, sir?
Well, that's hopeful, because she also said that the U.S. was not seeking to have a zero-sum game in terms of China and the US relationship, that countries in this region basically do not have to make a choice between either China or the US. There could be mutual interest, mutual accommodation. So again, focusing on, yes, trade, development, investment, which is good, supply chain. But again, supply chain was a concern to try to divert from China, to try to cut the linkages between the US and the China economy or not. Well, we have to wait and see. There was a trade agreement, of course, that was promoted by President Obama, the PTT. But ironically, President Trump withdrew from the PTT, and now it's China who said it's considering joining the PTT or the revised PTT. So we have to see, again, in this competition between China and the US, what will occur. When we mention Myanmar, of course, in that particular swing of the pendulum from East Asia, West Asia, and coming back here again now, perhaps the South China Sea can be seen in terms of the tennis Wimbledon, the center court. Myanmar could be a side court, that goes on. So there, some competition being undertaken, very similar, as you mentioned, circumstances, economic developments, a civil war, basically, fighting an armed group overthrowing an elected civilian government. And recognition in the UN next month will be a struggle. People have to compare. Myanmar was basically quite straightforward, I think, because people were saying, oh no, you can't overthrow an elected government. We'll be keeping recognition with the former government, with the ambassador in New York. But in the case of Afghanistan, people are now thinking, oh, maybe we do need the Taliban to ensure some stability there. Maybe Taliban is not the main threat. Maybe it's ISIS-K more is a threat. And E-Team and other terrorist organizations. So it clouds the picture there of Myanmar that we were proceeding along, ASEAN, special envoy and all that. So at the very least, I think in terms of Myanmar, Afghanistan has taken sort of sucked the oxygen out of the interest in Myanmar, because countries have very short attention spans, and very short. We have to in sound bites. What is happening? Why is it important? But Myanmar has been almost totally overlooked. Just 3 days ago, Wednesday, was the 4th anniversary of the Rohingya genocide. Almost nobody mentioned it, because all the news was on Afghanistan. So I think that is one of the implications right away, consequence of Afghanistan on our region.
Thank you so much for your support once again. Our podcast is available at YouTube and Spotify at Nyambung with Dinna Prapto Raharja. Make sure to send us your questions or your thoughts through YouTube comment section. And if you enjoy the episode, don't forget to like, share the link to your community, and subscribe so you make sure you don't miss our contents because we post every week.